Welcome, and I'm so glad you're here. I'm really happy that you've taken this action towards solving the money block problem in your life. This mini course is not just about money, it's about these emotional patterns that hold you, that control how much money you allow, receive, hold, grow, and also enjoy. Because most people think that money problem is a strategic problem. So if you don't have enough salary, if you don't have enough savings, you have a money problem. They think they need a better budget, a better investment, a better income, and more so a better plan or a better spreadsheet to be able to track their money, spend their money. And yes, all those things are bloody important. Those things really matter. But before this strategy can work on you, the nervous system needs to work. It needs to feel safe enough to hold wealth, to save wealth, to see it grow. And because your body still associates money with fear, guilt, shame, stress, or survival, no amount of financial spreadsheets or strategy is going to help you feel safe. So, this course is about finding those blocks that stop you from achieving that success in life, to be able to get into that freedom or not having that fear inside your body, which stops you from actually making wealth, saving wealth, and at the end of the day, building wealth for yourself. So, money blocks would be the first step I looked at from a change perspective. I was always earning decently. I was always earning well, but every time an extra spend came in, or every time something came in, I was tempted to spend those binges that I did when I was stressed about thing, or just it was just barely boredom, or even when I went on Amazon and shop things that I did not need, it wasn't enough. I did not have money to buy. It's just that I wasn't enjoying the thing which involves saving that money and seeing it grow. Now, there's a reason why you don't see that grow, and we'll understand this in chapter 2, which is understanding what your money blocks are. Welcome back. So, let's understand first what wealth blocks are. So, they are not just emotional thoughts, they are actually beliefs that your mind has learned over time. So, something that your mind has understood, stored, and felt. So, there's a nice way Dr. Joe Dispenza says what money blocks are. The body is the unconscious mind. It's a summation of what your unconscious mind holds, and it's not something which is conscious. So, your health block might sound like I'm not good enough with money. People don't like me. People don't want me to be wealthy. My parents don't want me to be wealthy. Money creates problems. Rich people are greedy. I have to work hard and suffer to deserve this money. So here's how a block appears in real life. Okay, it's like you're an entrepreneur. Imagine you're an entrepreneur and you have landed this amazing client, but when it comes time to follow up, you just miss it, or you're just too lazy to do it, or somehow you deserve a raise. You've worked hard the whole year for it, but somebody who's not or less deserving gets it. Or it's a woman who can sell anything to anyone, but when the time comes to actually sell, she freezes. Or somebody who asks for a salary increase but freezes when you want to ask for more. So, this is a safety problem. It's because underneath every wealth block, there's a younger version of you trying to stay safe. Because if you ask for more, God knows what will happen. So that is why we are here today, not for any judgment, but just to understand that you and me I was at the same place 4 years back where I did not think I deserve money. But in those 4 years, through painfully understanding this process and getting through those wealth blocks myself, I've manifested a $3.5 million property portfolio. I have 1.2 to 1.3 million now of net savings between those property portfolios just in the 4 years. So it's absolutely possible. And let's get on this journey of how you actually can go ahead and resolve those wealth blocks for yourself. Because the moment you do that, the moment you understand how these wealth blocks truly make your lives good or bad for a reason, that's when you are able to change yourself, change your mindset. So trust me on this. Let's get on the next part. So here, let's understand how these wealth blocks begin. So most of these blocks don't begin when we start earning money or get our first job. They begin much earlier. When they begin actually when we are children, or in impressionable age where our mind is formed. They begin when we are actually children, in an age where we're trying to form a brain. Dr. Bruce Lipton's research suggests that at the age of 7, our brains operate largely in a hypnotic downloading state. So we absorb how the world operates around us without filters. So picture this: you're 5 years old, you're watching TV, and your parents go quiet at the kitchen table when the bills arrive. You can hear them while watching TV. Oh my God, we can't afford this. You see money turn into an argument. You see a father yelling at your mom for spending too much, or your mom yelling at your dad for maybe gambling or wasting too much money on luxuries. And then you start feeling guilty about asking for money. You don't ask for that school trip. You don't ask for private school. You're also told not to dream big. You're also given these mindsets in your head that money doesn't grow on trees. This is not how we save. You cannot waste money. You're made to feel wanting more is being selfish. And as a child, you cannot question these beliefs. So we absorb them. We make them a part of our identity. Bob Proctor called this a paradigm shift, a multitude of habits and beliefs that are lodged in our head, in our subconscious, which are triggering our responses on autopilot. So we start believing these things. Money is stressful. Money is unsafe. Wanting more is wrong. Success creates rejection. Being visible is dangerous. I should stay small to stay loved. These are all really painful memories that you have. And when you grow up successful, capable, and intelligent, and still are able to deserve more, we wonder why still wealth feels so far away. It isn't you. It's a paradigm still running this shift. It's actually running your algorithm. It's like the plane is in the hands of the mind and you are no longer in control. So let's now understand why our parents do this. And I think this part, there is a short preamble to this, and but it's important to understand why you have gone through this. So most of us were fed with what I call is wealth garbage. And I say this with a lot of love because most of our parents are not trying to hurt us. They were just trying to do the best they could. They were just simply passing down the fear they have inherited as kids. They were just trying to protect us like your mind, your body is trying to do it. But sometimes this protection can actually become negative programming around money. They've taught us to fear risk because they want to protect us, to fear visibility, to fear failure, to fear wanting more, fear becoming different from people around us so that you don't stand out. Think about these phrases that you might have heard at a family dinner. Money doesn't grow on trees. We are not the kind of people who take those stupid risks. We cannot waste money on these experiments. Don't get too big for your boots. Money changes people. Rich people are assholes. Each one of these sound harmless. Each one but is a brick in the wall. So we grow up carrying this amazing conflict where one part of us wants this wealth, freedom, abundance, but another part whispers, careful, don't be too much. What if I fail? What if people see and judge me? What if I do something and I fail and people laugh at me? What if success makes you unsafe? And that inner conflict is exactly where these wealth blocks live. That's why we need those wealth blocks cleared. And that's why we need all these things to change in our head before we get onto this path. Now, before we start understanding how, let me also tell you how this has changed me. So, give me some time to actually tell you my story and to have your permission to tell you how these things changed me. So, I came from a family background where wealth was okay when I was growing up till I was about year 12 when I saw when I was doing okay. My father was in a good job. My mom was doing decently well. We were not rich, but we were doing okay. My grandfather and both my grandfathers were very highly educated, and we came from a pedigree of everybody who studies gets a lot of money. So that is the wealth block that I was brought up with. So if you study in the best school, in the best college, in the best uni, that's where you actually start getting the money. It was never about starting something like this or entrepreneurship or trying to close that gap between a rich and the poor. They were always trying to say that let's become upper middle class. And that's the ambition or that's the aspiration my family had. But I lost my father when I was 12. And at that point in time, I realized that from here, my money level went here. And suddenly the friends who were in my life, who started when we started on the level playing field, they suddenly started becoming rich. They started wearing branded clothes. They started going to better classes. They started going to better tuitions, and I started depreciating in terms of the assets that I had. So my grades started falling. I did not have anything to look for. And for so many years, when I started failing in so many things in my life, my overall outlook to life became in a way where I was thinking I don't deserve success. So when I went into an average engineering degree or when I went into an average MBA, I always felt like I couldn't ask for more. So I couldn't ask for more salary, I couldn't ask for more saving, I couldn't ask for a bigger home, I couldn't ask for anything big. So when I was 40, when I came to Australia, and my wife, who thankfully hadn't been so shocked or so blocked in terms of her money, she when she told me that she wanted me to look at buying a $1.5 million house. I was blown off. At that time, my wealth wiring was so bad that I was just basically being cynical all the time. And she started hating me for it, and we started having these fights, and that's when she said you need someone to talk about. So I got myself a coach. I got these things wired in my head. I went to a Tony Robbins concert where felt good for a couple of days, and that's when the first journey started. When I immersed myself in personal development, I immersed myself in my own learning, and I started this journey to certify myself as a mindset coach. But before that, I wanted to change my own mindset. So I went to this coach called Luke Hawkins. I don't know if you've heard him, but he's very, very big in Australia. I went to one of his seminars, and Luke Hawkins, through the 3 days of immersion, gave me that idea of forgiving myself, forgiving those wounds, taught me a technique called Ho'oponopono. And throughout my life, I've had a lot of experts, a lot of coaches, a lot of personal developers tell me what to do. And in the last 4 years, taking action on what I've done or investing in myself has helped me reach this stage. So I have been able to build a $3.5 million property portfolio, out of which almost 1.2 to 1.3 million is net. We've also built up 120K in savings in the last 1 year just through this. We are also running a side business, my wife and I, and both of us are very happy doing it. We also want to help people achieve those kind of goals. So we have a mission. We have so many things to look forward to, but it didn't come earlier. It didn't come from a place of certainty, and it definitely did not come before I cleared those money blocks in my head. So I invite you today to understand what you can potentially do to clear those off. So here is an important part before you actually go on to this meditation, which is understanding fear. I've already introduced to you what your parents have told you and how you are programmed as a kid. But the biggest challenge is that we operate still in a place of fear. Now, you might have heard a lot of people say that you are in a fight or flight mode, or you have this fear driven brain that is stopping you from taking action. But let me simplify this for you. So, whenever you feel that something is going to go wrong, your body freezes. So, whenever you are taking a risk in terms of a financial risk or an emotional risk, even if it's not just led to money, but also maybe meeting a new person and committing to the person, or even going on to a different country, or doing anything that is out of the ordinary, which puts you out of that comfort zone, your body freezes. So it'll do everything possible. I remember I had this fear of speaking, but I had written a book on personal development and it became a bestseller. So I was invited for a TED talk. And I went for that TED talk, and I wanted to go for that TED talk, but flights were booked, everything happened. And the day before the talk, I got COVID. And I got COVID. It came out of nowhere. I was isolating myself. Everything was good. It just came because my body was so scared to go on stage and talk in front of 200 people, inspiring them, that it just froze. This was before I did all this work, to be honest. I was just learning and adapting and putting it in books. So I was an author of 4 books. I had manifested becoming a best-selling author, and 3 out of the 4 books were bestsellers. So I was doing all those things, but because I was a shy, introverted person, and because I had this block of not of standing in stage and talking to people, this block really stopped me from taking action. And that is what blocks do to you. Fear just does not create negative thinking. It pulls you out of the present moment. It puts you in a place where you can't take action. So when you are actually in fear, you are always thinking in your head, what if this doesn't work out? What if I lose money? What if people judge me? And all those things stop you from moving on to a place of certainty. All these things, when you are not moving from a place of certainty, your body will want to stop you. So it remembers old moments of shame when you've taken action, and it keeps pushing you off the pedestal and putting you in a place of not just grounding but humiliation internally. So Dr. Joe Dispenza beautifully describes it, saying that you can't create a future while you're living in the emotions of the past. And when your mind is in the future and your body is in the past, you're not fully today. So let me give you an example. Let me give you an example which is really was really eye opening for me. So I went to this one-on-one coaching with a personal development coach, and he asked me, okay, what are you thinking about? And I told him, I'm thinking about how can I make more money, more successful, how can I provide for my family, how can I be good. And he said, and what do you fear? So I said, I fear that I'm not good enough. I fear that I don't have the capability. I fear that people will laugh at me. So he said, do you see this pattern? And I said, no, I don't. So you want something which is far away. You have something which is far away. but what is there today and you don't even acknowledge it, and that's why your past, present, and future don't connect with each other, and that's why you're never in the present moment. So at this present moment, nobody's judging you. At this present moment, you don't care about what's going to happen in the future in the money. At this present moment, all you need to do is take action towards your goals. So even when you're studying law of attraction or manifestation, when you're not in this present moment, you're always thinking about or worried about the future, or stressed about the past, and worry about the past. You are never trying to create things in reality. You're always looking at future and present. So we can actually work on this quite significantly, and I do this with a lot of people I work with. Is how do you crush these into, so your past, present, and future actually become one, and you are able to operate and manifest out of oneness. But that's a little more evolved for this. At this point in time, we just need to clear those blocks. So before we start the blocks, there's only one specific technique. And would you like to know how you can actually get into presence without having complex meditations, or without having these complex issues in your head trying to sort these for you? So the best way to get into meditation, which is called as the conscious coherent breathing. So this is not breath work like you've traditionally seen breath work, like you close and you keep deep breathing for 20 minutes. No, nothing like that. It's just breath work which takes this fear out of you. Now, once you have this fear out of you, you become conscious and you become coherent. That's why it's called the conscious coherent breathing. Now, conscious coherent breathing can actually help you stay in the present moment, not worry about the future, not think about the past, not worry about any other thing that's happening, like the bills are to be paid, your child is yelling at you, your wife is angry with you, or your husband is pissed off. All those things don't matter at that moment. So that's where the breathing comes in, and it just allows you to be safe. This is a technique I learned from Brian Ridgway, so it's obviously not mine, but this is a technique that has truly helped me meditate much better. So whenever you go, not just for this particular wealth reset, but for any meditation that you do, I would urge you to breathe in a way where it becomes so natural that you feel present. You feel as if you're not worried about what's happened in the past, you're not worried about the future, you're just in the today, and that makes a huge difference in your life. So let's look at how we do this. So the technique is pretty simple. All you need to do is, there are 5 steps to. The first step is just simply breathe in from your nose, breathe out from your mouth. Just practice this for about 3 or 4 breaths. Like breathe in from the nose and breathe out from your mouth. Again, one more time. Breathe in from your nose and breathe out from your mouth. So that's step one. Now, step two is you are going to put your tongue on the upper palate, like this. So your tongue goes on the upper palate, you open your mouth and again do the same thing. Breathe in from the nose. Now, while you're doing this, in this step, I want your breath to go down till your stomach. So when you breathe, you consciously imagine that your stomach and diaphragm, so your diaphragm expands and then your stomach expands like this. So you keep one hand on the chest, one hand on the stomach, and then breathe. That's step two. Step three is the duration of breath in and breath out needs to be the same, and it's not an exact science, but try to keep it the same. So just keep your hand on the chest and on the stomach, and just do this. And the last step here is when you are actually taking this breath, and just have a smile. When you have a smile while you're doing this like this, you are actually telling your mind that there's nothing to worry about, all is well, everything is good, and you are good to actually do this continuously. So this breath you need to do 2 to 3 times before you are actually taking any meditation, not the meditation that we are about to see, but any meditation in your past and your future. So this is the 5 layer breath, and fifth layer obviously is that you keep doing it before any meditation. So these are techniques that you have to do, or this is the breath that you have to do before you start off with the money blocks wealth reset hypnotic meditation that we have now. Just a few ground rules before you watch that meditation. The meditation is supposed to be done in the morning and in the evening, technically every day till you can do it. It's a free meditation, so why not do it every day? It's not going to cost you anything, but it's going to dramatically change your life. Like, I can't even tell you how many benefits you have out of this meditation, but don't take my word for it. Just do it. It's not going to cost you more than 15 minutes a day in the morning and in the evening, and it's just going to relax you. So there's absolutely no harm to do it. The second thing is something called an ideal tomorrow, or something which I always call my perfect future day. So this is something which is optional, but I would highly recommend you do it at night before sleeping. So basically, take a fresh piece of paper, write your ideal future day, which means that you just write a story about tomorrow. So I wake up at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. or 5 a.m., depending on how much, and I do this. So don't put the details of what you do when you wake up, but basically, you want to write a day which is your perfect day. Okay, which means that you are operating from a place where you're thinking about when you have reached the goal of being rich, when you have reached the goal of having abundantly high wealth, what are you going to do? A very important question there is going to now put your mind to work. If you had this goal of $1 million or $2 million or $10 million or $1 billion, depending goals are, you will then see every day you will use that part to decide what are you going to do with the wealth. How much of this am I going to allocate for spending? How much of this for fun? How much of this for investing? How much for this for marriage, for kids, for parents? Depending on what, it's your own personal story. So just write that personal story and keep writing it. There's an important hand-eye coordination that you do when you write these things with your hand. Ideally, if you do it with the opposite hand, it even creates more connection between the hand and the brain. But do it with the hand that you're most comfortable with, and keep writing this ideal day, or ideal day of my life, and that Brian Ridgway calls this the lighthouse day, and I call this the ideal day. It's just basically writing what sort of a day you want to have, and keep doing it every day so that you are also happy about waking up. A lot of times I see people sleeping on a Sunday and not being happy about waking on a Monday, but this keeps you happy every morning, and just keep doing this along with the repetition. There's also going to be a workbook. That workbook will also help you go through this in terms of text. If you're more of a text person, all this will be in text as well for you. So all these are important instructions before you start the meditation. Again, the meditation is supposed to be done in the morning and the evening, ideally at a time once when you are conscious, when you're not asleep, and once you're trying to go to sleep. So you are actually trying to do the unconscious and subconscious reprogramming at both stages, when you are at theta as well as you're at alpha, at both stages, so that it helps you program your mind more effectively. So all this is just so this is all I have before you actually start this meditation. I don't want to waste any more of your time. I want you to go and look at the meditation, and this is going to be truly life changing for you. Trust me on this. This has changed my life. This has made me happier. This has created amazing wealth opportunities for me. This has freed me from so much block in my life. I just hope you believe in me and you believe in yourself. See you on the other side.